Oh, hi, Rik. How are you
Hi,
today?
Marcel. Yeah, I'm fine. And you?
I'm fine too. I'm happy that you joined this call because I have a few questions for you regarding the training and the topics you are now last couple of months dealing with.
Yeah.
So could you maybe explain others who don't know about that? What's that topic you are trying to deliver via training and some new certification scheme?
Yes, of course. Well, my name is Rik Marselis, and I'm one of the people who wrote the book Quality for DevOps Teams. And that book is about quality engineering. And quality engineering is about teams taking joint responsibility for delivering business value using IT. And based on that book and the whole TMAP body of knowledge, we created 3 training courses. And that's for people to become better at delivering quality, and building in quality. So that's how it all started.
Okay, interesting. And what are the topics inside? What does training cover?
Well, we have 3 different training courses. The first training is called Quality for Cross-Functional Teams, and it is about how people that work together in a modern high-performance IT delivery team, such as Agile, Scrum, DevOps, how they should work together. And quality engineering has multiple parts. And one of the important things in quality engineering is testing. But what we try to emphasize is that testing is not the only quality measure. Because in the old days, sometimes people tried to test quality in at the end. And what we try to emphasize is that it's better to build in quality from the start, and then testing is mainly to demonstrate that indeed we have the right quality. So that's a little bit the shift in focus that we made with TMAP, because as you may know, TMAP started more than 25 years ago, but with this new development, we updated TMAP very bigly, and now it's totally aligned with today's agile mindset and the way of IT delivery that you see in DevOps.
Okay, and you said there are 3 different courses prepared to cover the topic, and I'm a bit lost in that. So what are the 3 courses about?
Well, if you allow me, I'll quickly show one slide on that. And this picture shows the 3 different training courses. So we have the TMAP Quality for Cross-Functional Teams. That is a training course that is for everybody in a team and around a team. So also, for example, for Scrum Masters, product owners, and other people interested. And that is the basic knowledge about quality engineering. And then for the engineers in a team, like developers, operations people, and of course testers, we have the TMAP High Performance Quality Engineering, and that goes in more depth. For example, it's about infrastructure verification if you use cloud infrastructure. It is about unit testing and mutation testing for developers. And it's also about test design techniques. And then, of course, in the quality for cross-functional teams, we already have a couple of test design techniques. And in the high-performance quality engineering, it dives deeper in test design. And also other deeper topics like, for example, feature toggles, which is an operations thing. So it's because one of the beliefs we have is that everybody in a cross-functional team should work together. So all of them should have a little bit of knowledge about what other people in the team are doing. So that's why we focus on a broad range of things. And then the last training course is TMAP Organizing Built-in Quality at Scale. And that is specifically for organizations that have many IT delivery teams, like Scrum teams or DevOps teams. And then you need to organize something across all these teams. So if you're a small organization, then Scrum is good enough. But if you're a large organization, you use, for example, the Scaled Agile framework to organize that. And there you also need specific focus on quality engineering. So that is how these 3 training courses tie together.
Okay, cool. And maybe I'll dig into more details later, but I knew that we will have this call, so I prepared a few questions regarding the content.
Okay.
And one was that's something, the challenge is coming from maybe new experience with DevOps or Agile environments. And some people say, okay, we don't need any more test managers because there are no test managers in the teams, but my team require or need to have the test management skills. So how to estimate, how to plan, how to organize all the things. Do you cover these kind of topics within the course?
Yeah. And not only do I see people that say we don't need test managers, but even they say we don't need testers. And then on one hand, I agree, because in a cross-functional team, you don't need somebody who has tester on their business card. But what you do need is testing skills and knowledge. And basically, if you want to have good quality engineering and testing skills and knowledge, then often it is good to have somebody who is specialized in that. So you do not really need someone who calls themselves a tester, but you do need people that are able to think about how do we guarantee that we will have the right quality. And partly that can be done with, for example, things like pair programming, which is a typical development thing, but pair programming gives higher quality than if people do it on their own. But you also need to think about, how do I organize my regression test, for example? And especially if you are working with multiple teams together, then you need to organize an end-to-end regression test over all these teams. And that's where you need real test management skills. And then you can have a big debate whether you need a test manager, but anyway, you need test management skills. And what I often see is that people that used to be a test manager, for example, become a Scrum Master. So they assist the teams in doing the whole Scrum process, but having been a test manager all their life, they also support the team in organizing end-to-end testing and that kind of thing. So you see a little bit of shift in the names that people call their function, but actually the profession is still needed.
I believe that testing is part of Agile and DevOps, and the era where people start saying that testing do not need to be there anymore is over. So I don't believe that this is the pain we have there, but I still face a lot of challenges in the teams that people don't know how to organize or how to estimate the testing activities and how it should be done. So it's good that you covered that in the training as well. Another interesting question I'm getting sometimes is we are an Agile team. We do not need to have any test cases. We will only have automation script and maybe some exploratory testing. Do you cover this topic, and how?
Yeah, well, in our book there is a special part only about test design, and test design falls apart in 2 things. We talk about coverage-based testing, where you create your test cases up front, and with these test cases you are able to to guarantee a certain kind of coverage. And we describe experience-based testing, where testing is done based on the experience that the people involved have. And the most known approach in that is exploratory testing. Now, if people say we will only do automated testing and exploratory testing, then basically they have coverage-based testing and experience-based testing. So that's a good thing. But then they need to understand that good automated tests are based on applying a test design technique, because you want to have the right test cases and not too many test cases. And that's typically what the test design technique helps with. Mm-hmm. Also, what people that create unit tests often do is create a unit test, run it, it works fine, and then they do mutation testing. And mutation testing is actually testing your unit test by putting mutations, so changes in your program code. And then if the test does not fail, the test is not complete. Because if you change the code, a test should fail. And in the training course, we have an example where we show that if you apply a test design technique up front, then you will immediately have all the right test cases and your mutation testing will go well. Whereas some people, they think, I don't need to think about test cases up front because I will use a mutation testing tool. And then it can take an awful long time to find the right test cases. So I think these good old testing skills still have their value today.
Okay, so that leads me maybe to the last part of kind of typical challenges I'm facing, is that we are turning from testers world into testing world, or we are trying to convince others that testing activity is important. But how I could convince my colleagues like product owners or developers or scrum masters to join your training, how to make that topic sexy for them, how I could, do you have some tricks? Do you have some advice for me?
Oh yeah, well, one of the first questions I always ask is, how is in your organization IT working in general? Do you have a lot of trouble in the live situation? Because if they say it's always working fine here, well, then obviously they have a very good process already, or they have a very small IT system. But usually people start complaining about the quality of their IT system. And then I say, well, okay, and that's why you need to focus on building in quality from the start. And that is part of quality engineering. And that's what all these training courses are about. So I do recognize that some people, and it's mainly old-fashioned IT people, they hate testing. But the main reason why, in my opinion, they hated testing in the past was that they needed to create some software, then they needed to give it to somebody else, and that somebody else came back and told them that everything was wrong. That's not a nice way of working. I can understand that. So therefore, today in a cross-functional team, you work together to create the right quality. And that needs that people are open to work together. So they need to discuss, etc. But for example, I've been working with a developer, an old school developer, and I said, can I just help and have a look what you are doing? And then I asked questions. And of course, he was programming Java, and I'm not a Java specialist, but I have been a programmer in the past. So I just asked some questions like, what's happening here and how is this? And then at a certain point he said, oh, what a great question. Oh yeah, now I understand that this is not correct. Thank you for finding this. And I said, well, actually, I didn't find it. I only asked you questions and you found it yourself. But by working together and just being curious, it helps people to have another look at what they are creating. And that's why working in a cross-functional team is such an advantage. And that's also if people know a little bit about what all the different people in a team are supposed to do and what they're working on, it makes life for everybody in the team easier. And that also goes, for example, for the product owner that you were referring to, because a product owner needs to think about how can we create what the company needs. And in TMAP, we take the starting point from business value. So we don't say the company needs IT stuff. No, they need business value. And the IT is to support the business value. So yeah, that's how we talk with product owners.
Yeah, for just my opinion, I think if I remember, you said there are there is first 3-day course and then it's followed by another 3 days. And just a quick comment on that. I think it would be big success if I could convince somebody from non-testing team to join such a course or courses. Do you have some approach to deliver it in smaller chunks, or how it's organized? How if I would decide to go there, or if I would convince product owner or a Scrum Master or developer to join forces and attend the courses, how it's organized?
Well, all 3 of the training courses are a 3-day training course, but the level differs a little bit. And so the first training course, Quality for Cross-Functional Teams, is 3 days, but it has 5 sessions of half a day that are structured, and all of the content is already prepared. And the last part of the training course, we have some free time. So I always ask people if there's something they want to know more about, and then we can do that in the last afternoon, or often it is morning and afternoon, 3 days, but it can even be 6 evenings or 6 mornings or whatever, because it is 6 different sessions. And also we help people to prepare for the exam, because these training courses are all certification courses, so they can get an official certificate. The certification is done by ISQI, a well-known worldwide certification organization. Typically the training course is done as a package of 3 days, but sometimes we do it 3 days in a row, but in other situations we do it 1 day a week. So we do it 3 weeks after each other, 1 day, and then people have more time to just let the knowledge sink in. And I've even delivered it in 6 evenings. So then it was 6 weeks in a row, every week an evening. So it depends on what the audience likes, also how many time they have. And what we also have seen, for example, in large organizations where they use the Scaled Agile framework, in SAFe, the Scaled Agile framework, you typically have groups of is it 4 or 5? It's 5 sprints, and then 4 sprints are to deliver software, and the 5th sprint is the sprint where, for example, you do some exercises. In that sprint, you can also do, sorry, I get distracted because the phone is ringing, but I won't pick it up. So in that last sprint, then people sometimes also have time to educate, and then you can do a condensed training courses of 3 days in that that week.
Okay, I see. So if I would like to send some group of people, what is the minimum? If I would like to follow this 6-week or 5-week approach to split the course into smaller chunks, how many colleagues I need to bring?
Of course, this depends on the company that provides and what kind of agreement you make. We at Society, because the TMAP training courses are delivered by multiple companies, and it all started with Society in the Netherlands, so we are probably still the largest training provider. And we have basically 2 kinds of delivery model. One is the open training courses, and then one person can just join our training course, and sometimes we do them 3 days in a row, and sometimes we do them 3 days split over 3 weeks, sometimes even split over 2 weeks, so it differs a bit. But then anyone can just sign up. It's an online training course and everybody can join. Or we do what we call an in-company training course, and then you will need to have a group. And generally, it is an advantage if you have a group of at least 6 people, because with 6 or more people, it is cheaper to have a group training than an open training. And if you have a group training, you can have it at any moment of day or night and in any week that you like. So then you can just say, we would like to have it delivered in this kind of way. And often what also then is discussed is, and how would you like to organize the exam so that the exam gets reasonably quick after the training course, because my advice is always to don't wait longer than about 2 weeks before doing the exam, because then still the knowledge is fresh.
Okay, I see. Okay, that's interesting topic, and I would like to thank you for that quick interview and discussion. And if you are interested, if you are watching us, and if you are interested, I'm talking to our audience. And if you are interested in a course, then let us know, and we can give you some more details. Maybe we will add some links around the video. I don't know where are all places we will post this video. So thank you for watching, and thank you, Rik, that you joined the discussion or the interview.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me, Marcel, and it was my pleasure. And I hope that people get inspired and will use the TMAP body of knowledge. So thanks again.